All right, so let's make a formal introduction for our listeners. Good afternoon, Olaf. My name is Claudio, and I'm calling you from Washington, D.C. From the studio of Fairfax City. We are very humble and grateful that Olaf Lux accepted our invitation to our show. Olaf, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thank you. Hello from Germany. How are you?
Thank you. All good, man. So, Olaf, with everything that is going on in the world with the pandemic, for some musicians, inability to do tours, to go outside, and some people believe in the vaccine, some people don't believe in the vaccine. We live in a crazy world for the last, I don't know, year and a half. How you manage? How you holding up? How's your personal life, your work? How you manage, man?
Well, first of all, I'm not a musician. I
Yeah,
just wrote this little book about Klaus. So
yeah,
I really wasn't deeply impacted by COVID because really in the beginning, I have to say that I work from home, and as a writer, I of course also write when I'm at home. And I'm single, I live alone, so my life was pretty much the same. I didn't go out much, and the only thing was, okay, you have to wear a mask when you go to the supermarket or stuff. But otherwise, my life didn't change. And obviously, it was a bit funny to me that now everybody had to live like I already did all the time, like be for yourself, don't meet too many people. And
yeah,
so I was there was no problem for me at first, but um, for COVID staying so long, like over a year now, um, from week to week, the problems aroused because um, of such simple like logistic stuff. Like when I brought my book out, I of course wanted to send them around the world, and suddenly there were all these restrictions, and the postal service to this and this country isn't available anymore. And there are even I even have one order from a tiny little island beside Australia, which I couldn't send because there's no service until today. So it was a bit more like this stuff that bothers me. But now I have my first vaccination and waiting for the next week, and then I hope it becomes a bit better for me.
yeah. Man, some countries are behind that. I had my vaccine about 4 or 5 months ago, and
Okay,
I'm okay. I mean, I'm glad to be alive.
of
Uh,
course. And um,
how many people have died here?
luckily, no one from my inner circle died.
Yeah.
But of course, you hear some stories from relatives or friends that close people
Mm.
passed away, and that it's really, I don't understand those who ignore it or think that's fake or just like a flu or what. That's
Crazy people, man.
yeah, crazy.
That's what I think. People that live in denial. That they,
But on the other side, there were such brilliant things like Torsten Questioning's online concerts that he put together,
yeah.
which would never have seen the light of day without COVID. So
Mm.
he twice a week he gave online concerts that you can watch for free on Facebook. It was brilliant, and
Yeah.
always another guest, always brilliant music. 1 hour improvisation.
Yeah.
It was heaven. I hope he starts again with this.
Yeah. Do you know Thorsten personally,
Yeah,
or
I know him.
yeah? He's
We
a good.
chatted. It was a fun story.
Yeah.
I met him first. There was a year after Edgar died. There was a memorial event in a art gallery in Berlin, and they played like quarter of an hour, 50 minutes, a little improvisation there. And um, when I approached him just to say hello, like a shy fan going, "Hello, I'm Olaf." He came to me, "Hey, you're Olaf Lux from the Facebook Klaus Schulze group," he said, and I was baffled because he knew my name.
Wow.
And then we chatted a bit, and from then on, we regularly talked after concerts. I went to a lot of Tangerine Dream concert and Picture Palace music concerts in
Yeah.
and around Berlin. I also were at this swimming pool event where Tommy Betzler played the drums. He talked about it yesterday.
He talked in
Picture Palace music concert, and really the best conversation was there was an event in the Berlin Museum of Musical Instruments. There's a museum for musical instruments, and they had a special event about electronic instruments like old Moog synthesizers and all these dynacords and teleharmonium stuffs from the 1920s or whatever. And Thorsten was invited there to just play one track on one thing, and all these cultural people over there. I don't think many of them knew who he was, but I knew. And afterwards, there was a little like showing of the exhibition, and then I went to Thorsten and to say hello. And actually, he led me through the exhibition and say, oh, look at this thing, and that this synthesizer can do that, and we have that in the cellar at Edgar's house in Vienna, and all this stuff. It was very funny conversation. And then he said, it was very interesting, that he, at that time, it must be 5 years ago or so, he said he wanted to try for the 40th anniversary of Tangerine Dream, which was imminent then. He wanted to do a sampler, a compilation where all TD members would collaborate. So he talked to Michael Hönig, he talked to Peter Baumann. Peter Baumann came to Berlin. They really considered to do something together, to Johannes Schmörling, and he tried to contact Klaus, but he couldn't. And of course, he tried to contact Christopher Franke, but that connection is somehow lost. I don't think there is any connection between the band and Christopher Franke anymore. So this became to nothing but a good idea. But wouldn't it be cool if there was a sampler with all these old guys coming together and playing something together?
So I have interviewed about 6 or 7 people from Tangerine Dream already, and for different generations. Some of them don't know one another, right? Yeah. And then I would love to do a Zoom meeting like this and invite all of them. But I think some of them, don't get along well. This is my understanding. They explained to me that Jerome, not Jerome, Edgar's second wife, Bianca, she took the name, and she's the owner of Tangerine Dream name. And there is a lot of issues between Jerome, his kids, for example, pretty much, and some of the other members of the band. And then I don't want to mention the name, but I talked to different people, and they don't get along that well. So, if I put like a Zoom meeting with all of them, it's going to be complicated. So it's not going to, they told me that don't do that, because I'm not going to, whatever. If Ulrich, if I'm talking to Ulrich and say, no, I don't get along well with that, so I'm not going to show up to me soon. So I'm not going to come. But I want to do like a amicable thing, like a fun thing,
Yeah, it's always this, like, if you would try to put David Gilmour and Roger Waters together in one room, it's the same problem, I think.
Yeah. So yeah.
And with Tangerine Dream, you have like 10 or 20 people who were involved. So as I got to know is that when Edgar died, Jerome obviously thought, okay, with Edgar, Tangerine Dream would end. And he would have no problem if the others would go on with a different name. But for whatever legal reasons, the name stuck with, of course, Edgar's wife, like she inherited it more or less, I think. And so they went on. And of course, you were aware of the struggle in the fandom about, is this still Tangerine Dream? Is it not without Edgar and here? And should it end or should it not? But the fact is, knowing Thorsten and his musical background and how good he is, I think he's a perfect like surrogate for Edgar. He's a perfect fit to in these footsteps to take over the name and.
But the question is, if Edgar was alive, you think he will be happy that the legacy will continue with Ulrich, Oshiko from Japan, and then Thorsten and maybe Edgar? I mean, should Tangerine Dream continue, or it's not the same thing? What's your opinion?
Well, as far as I know, the music that still is released without him was still based on things that he also worked on. So the last album, Quantum Years, was still full of Edgar's melodies and stuff and sequences. Yeah. I don't know if this still applies to the next album, which is announced for, I think, next month. But I think he would approve. Well, he brought Thorsten in the band. He brought Hoshiko to the band, and Ulrich. Okay, Paul Frick now is a new name, which
Paul Frick,
Edgar, I don't know if he would approve or not. But the funny thing is, when they announced that Paul Frick would be the fourth member of Tangerine Dream, I had in my mind, okay, now they kick the girl out, so that there are a three-piece of boys again. But now Ulrich will leave, so it's a bit different.
Yeah, that's what, I don't know if you saw the interview that I did. Ulrich, he told me he is going to be leaving the band. He want to do his solo stuff. Yeah. And he has a lot of good materials. He's living, Ulrich is living in London now, and I think at the end of the year, he said he's moving back to Hamburg. I think he has family there in Hamburg, and then he told me, yeah, very likely I'm going to be leaving Tangerine Dream. So
I understand that, because of course he was so separated now with Corona. He wasn't able to visit Germany anymore, and I think it's fun to live in London as long as you can meet your friends and relatives in Germany as often as you want. But if you are in London and you're not allowed to went to Germany at all, then you maybe get some homesickness and want to come back. And perhaps that's one of the reasons that he considers coming back to Hamburg.
Yeah. Are you in touch with Paul Frick or?
No.
That's another person I would like to interview, bring into the show. You know, little by little, I'm putting pieces together. You know, and
yeah, I know, from one to the other, and yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's like it's like a social network. You know, some people, you know, when I talk to Michael, they say, "Yeah, you need to talk to Olaf," and then Olaf, "No, you need to talk to the guy," and then little by little, little pieces are connecting me to other areas. So it's like a social network. So
yeah, but you have the opportunity or the advantage that you not only you phone someone and say, "Hey, hello, I'm whoever, and I got your address from whoever," but you directly talk to people. And
yeah,
I know you're a nice guy, and when I now say to some other person, okay, this Claudio guy is a nice guy, you can talk to him, it's no problem, then there's another it has another impact perhaps on
or and I say everybody when I was talking to Tommy yesterday, I say I want to know the person. I can tell you, you know, all the hit that you have with this band, with that band, with the Peacock and the hit, everybody knows that. I want to know the person. I want to know the person behind the instrument. For example, right? I will ask Thorsten, where you come from a musical family? What music were you listening when you were 14, right? Where did you buy the first equipment? You know, it was expensive. It wasn't. So for me, I want to know the person in the music, not just on the hits, you know, because it's boring. Everybody knows the stuff. So let's go back to your life, Olaf. What kind of music were you listening when you were what they call in German the gymnasium?
Well,
What kind
Well,
of bands were? But you knew who Tangerine Dream was when you were 20
yes, yes,
years, 18?
I would even go one school further back, because it was about, I have the big luck to have an older brother.
Yeah,
I have an older brother. He's 6 years older. So when I was about 10 or 11, he was already 16, 17 and had his first job and had his first money to buy LPs.
yeah.
So little Olaf sneaked in his brother's room when he wasn't there, and sneaked into his
Look at his vinyl.
vinyl collection, and I was stunned by the excellent cover art works that I found, like Oxygen from Jean-Michel Jarre with this skull in the earth, and Ehrlich, the first Klaus Schulze LP I saw, and all the Tangerine Dream covers were also interesting, and Tubular Bells with this thing and all the stuff my brother had. And but then I borrowed it from my brother to listen on my little record player in my room. I hope he never finds out. And so
He will. He will after the interview.
I was socialized like by stealing music from my brother, more or less. But
Yeah,
as we said before we started recording, there was this second way of listening to music. Of course, in school, the school boys, they listen to the hit parades and the normal pop stuff. And I grew up in the 80s, like Depeche Mode or stuff, and I also liked that a lot. But for me, it was like being out with my friends or on parties or in the disco, or listen to popular music. But when I come home, I listen to the good music. That was in my thinking.
yeah.
And on one hand, it was a bit like, I was a little bit sad that I had no one to talk about this good music. But on the other hand, I felt a bit superior. Like, okay, guys, stay to your hit parade. So, but I listen the really good music
The
when
real
I'm.
stuff. Yeah,
And I wouldn't change it. It's like um, being alone at home, dimming the light, putting on a record, and be surrounded by soundscapes from
yeah,
Klaus Schulze or Tangerine Dream or whatever.
yeah.
It's the best. So I still today try to at least listen to one record a day. I don't always manage it, but I try to give the music the space it deserves in my life.
Yeah. Do you have like a big music collection besides obviously Klaus Schulze? You have like you always are you buying always? Where by the way, where are you? Are you in Berlin? No.
No, I live in a small town called Minden that is like between Hanover and Cologne. Like it's a small town. I lived in Berlin for like 7 years, but due to job reasons, I came
You're
back
the movie.
to my hometown. This is my hometown.
Gotcha.
Um, well, I used to have a really big CD collection back then, but most of it I sold in a phase of financial trouble. So I had to sell most of it. I only kept, of course, Klaus Schulze, the Tangerine Dream, and the more valuable stuff like Pink Floyd special editions and so on.
Yeah.
But recently I inherited more or less a friend who wanted to get rid of a bunch of LPs, told me, "What do you want my old LPs?" And he came around with 3-4 big boxes of the finest stuff, all the good
Wow.
things. And then
Wow.
I didn't have a record player though, so I borrowed one from the, let's say, mother-in-law of my brother. So to listen to LPs again. And now I try not to fall in the same trap, like buying everything that's there. But of course, Klaus Schulze collection must be complete.
Yeah. But you can go to many. Of course, I've been only in only been in Munich. You know, I don't know if I told you, but my family, I told Michael, and my family ancestors came from Munich, came from Germany. So my mother last name is German. So in 1880, it was a big migration. About 5,000 families moved from Italy to Argentina, and then 5,000 families moved from Germany to the south of Chile. So my great-great-grandparents arrived in Chile from Germany in 1882. So my mother last name is Hoferberg. Of course, I
Oh.
don't speak any German, but I will send you a link to where the graves are in Munich. So I've been in Munich, but not in Berlin. But the reason I was in Berlin, I was there, and maybe in every city in Germany. There vinyls, some of them are not that expensive. You can get, I don't know, vinyls for the equivalent of, I don't know, $2, $3 or something like that. So it's
Well,
not that expensive to begin putting a record collection, little by little,
yeah,
right?
the best thing is the flea markets
Flickenberg, yeah.
in the summer of Berlin.
Oh, yeah, that's
There
what I
are
do.
huge flea markets, and
Yeah,
there, of course, are a lot of vinyl dealers. And the problem is they know their stuff and they know what it's worth. So it's not so easy to get some free stuff or bargains. But
bargains, yeah.
if you're really looking for good LPs, Berlin flea markets are the place to be.
It to be, yeah. And man, if so many, and the Germany, I mean, Berlin built the capital of, electronic music in the world. There might be a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff I don't know. It's gotta be.
Well, I always dreamed of founding a museum for Berlin School Music in Berlin.
Why
Wouldn't
don't
that
you do it?
what?
Why don't you do it?
I just I just need to find a rich wife which will finance that.
Well, I'm surprised you're not married. There's so many beautiful women in Germany, man.
Maybe, but perhaps I'm not beautiful enough for them. So
No, don't say that kind of stuff. No. So okay, so let's go back to your stuff. Why Klaus Schulze? Why not Tangerine Dream by yourself? Why you decided to? Well, there is Klaus Schulze. That is very good. I'm German. What was the reason that you decided? Well, I want to spend 4 years of my life writing a book about this guy. Why not somebody else? What was the main reason?
well, the thing, as I said, I sneaked into my brother's room to get the good stuff, and as a 10, 11-year-old, of course, um, music like Jean-Michel Jarre or Tangerine Dream was more accessible at first.
Yeah.
So I was more into those kind of music, like more melodic and more popular stuff. But my brother had four LPs from Klaus Schulze, which was Ehrlich, the very first,
Yeah.
which was X, the double album X,
Yeah.
and the two Body Love
Yeah, but
albums
yeah.
from the 70s. And I think I was perhaps a bit too young to understand this kind of music, but I already liked it. So it was always in the back of my mind. And when I went up with my life, Klaus Schulze got a bit out of my focus. So when vinyl was finally changed to CDs, the first CD I bought was in 1990, was Mediterranean Pads, like a completely different style, but still one of those favorites of mine because obviously the first I bought myself. And then the first like concerts started when I go to concerts with friends. Like I remember the first concert I went to was Peter Gabriel in I think 92 or something. And then of course 94, the big Pink Floyd Division Bell tour.
Yeah.
And I was more into like prog rock or Genesis,
Yeah, of course.
Pink Floyd stuff. And then one day I saw an advert about the Klaus Schulze concert on the Lorelei in 2008. And the thing was that on the bill were also Tangerine Dream. So I went to my brother and said, come on, Bernd, his name is Bernd, Tangerine Dream and Klaus Schulze on the same night, we have to go there. It's far away, it's five hours of driving, but we will do this. And it was like the perfect night, a magical night. We had first the Tangerine Dream concert, which was more rocky than I expected, because they were a 5 or 6 piece with a percussionist, female, and whatever, 2 guitar players. But it was the perfect combination to the Klaus Schulze plus Lisa Gerard concert afterwards, which was so calmly, which was so nice, which was magical. After you had the excitement of the Tangerine Dream stuff, they played stuff from Hyperborea and Tangram and all the classics and Stratosphere, and then you had this soothing soundscapes from Klaus Schulze leading you into the night. It was a warm summer night. It was so brilliant. And it was 2008. That was my first Klaus Schulze concert. And soon after that, I said to myself, I have to make something like a fan club or something, because I was now so into Klaus Schulze.
Yeah.
And first I had a little website, and one of my first members was Michael Brückner. Wow. So when we finally went over from this little website to Facebook, it became now one of the biggest Klaus Schulze communities on Facebook. It's called the German Klaus Schulze Forum. And that was the time, it's now 10 years ago. And then there is this thing, when I listen to music, I want to know more about the details of it, like the production infos, like when is it recorded, where is it recorded, which kind of instruments used, which kind of people played on this music. And of course, when you read all these liner notes and stuff, you are even more interested in the person behind it. And of course, I really early started to read biographies of musicians like Pink Floyd or Kraftwerk or whatever. And I love to read biographies. And but of Klaus Schulze, there were not so many. There were only a handful of books about Klaus Schulze, most of them outdated from the 80s or something, or written by someone from his perspective, which doesn't interest me so much. I want to know the facts. I want to know everything about Klaus and his life and his work. And I was a bit disappointed that I didn't find the book about Klaus, so that I said to myself, I have to write this book that I want to read for myself. And that was about maybe now 6-7 years ago. I started this project really to gather information in articles and interviews, written radio interviews, write them down, transcribe them, and everything. And I said to myself, I need 2.5 years to write this book. 1 year of research, 1 year of writing, and perhaps a half a year of translating, because from the first day on, I wanted to do it in German and in English, because all the other books that there were only in one language. And I wanted to cover all the, like, of course, Germany, it's a German artist, but also the rest of the world with an English version. And boy, was I wrong with the first year. Like research lasted at least 3 years. Wow. Before I started writing. And then something very interesting happened. On my Facebook Klaus Schulze group, I met a guy who worked at MIG label, the record label of Klaus Schulze, MIG, made in Germany is it called. Yeah. And we get in touch and chatted a bit, and he invited me to the label, which is in Hanover, not far away from me. It's an hour an hour ride. So I said, okay, I come over and we can have a chat about Klaus, no problem. And mind you, I went into this building, and there stood the two sons of Klaus, Richard and Maximilian Schulze were there. And I met the sons of Klaus. I was like in awe, but I was a bit afraid to talk about my little project about a book about their father, if they would be okay with it. But they totally were okay. And we got in touch, we exchanged numbers, and suddenly I had access to a lot of people from the inner circle of Klaus. And I didn't have to start from scratch, but I really had to rewrite chapters and add things here and correct stuff there, because now I had more insight into some details, so that another half a year came to the timetable. But in the end, I was very happy. And then, of course, there was always this problem: should I bring the book out now, or should I wait perhaps for the next album? Because the worst thing that could happen is you bring a book out, and a week later a new album comes out, and your book is outdated.
Yeah.
The new album isn't in it. What is its book? So I really was happy that when Silhouettes, the last Klaus Schulze album, came out, I was nearly finished with my book. So I added one chapter, Silhouettes, the last chapter, ? Wrote a little text about it, and then brought it to the printing plant. And some weeks later, I published my book. First in German.
By the way, Silhouette is a very good album. I really like it. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much the story about my 5-year exploration of Klaus Schulze, which makes me an expert. And the fun thing is, I got in touch with so many interesting people via this book, like interviewing Michael Shree from Santana. He was sitting in Seattle. I was phoning him, and like Marianne Gold, the singer from Alphaville, with whom Klaus worked together quite a few times. And yeah, as I said, I met Manuel, but he wasn't very talkative. But all these people. And one funny guy was Guido Harari. Guido Harari is an Italian photographer, a music photographer and music journalist. And he made those iconic pictures of Klaus, like everyone knows this picture, the Mirage picture that was photographed by Guido Harari, and they met in the 70s, and had not much contact, like 2 or 3 years, but this photo still go around. And I found him on Facebook, wrote to him, and he was delighted to talk to me. And the funny thing is now, Guido, who worked in the music business for decades, making photos of Kate Bush and the Stones and every big persons in the business, and he now makes next year he plans a retrospective of his work, like an exhibition in somewhere in Italy where he lives. And he asked me if I could provide him with some like posters or flyers or everything where his work was used. So I asked around for posters with Guido Harari photos, and maybe some of that stuff will come out in a book that Guido then will release, like a tabletop.
Wow. How is and feel free to, because since I'm recording, don't say anything that is confidential or nothing like that, but because I don't want you to get in trouble. So the MIG building was made in Germany, was like a record label, but it was only released in Klaus Schulze, or was released another German musician?
No, that's a little independent label, but they mostly, I don't know if you know, there was a very famous TV show called Rockpalast.
Yeah,
like
Rock Palace. Yeah, yeah.
Rock Palace.
Yeah, Rock Palace. Yeah, I remember that
One
in
of
the
the
70s.
first,
Yeah.
yeah, one of the first music TV shows for like rock music, and they got hold of all the videos of that and released these old recordings. But they also have like regular customers, heavy metal bands, everything. So Klaus Schulze is just one part of their business,
Yeah.
but well, I don't know so much about the other artists that they
Right.
work.
And how Klaus, Klaus Schulze's, kids? They're good people, nice to talk to them, or
Very nice people. They
yeah,
are both, although they are both lawyers, but
they're all what?
they are lawyers. They attorneys. They work in companies in the legal departments. But one is living in I think in Munich, and the other also in Hanover, not far away. And with Maximilian, or Max as I might call him, I am allowed to call him. I like chat every 2 weeks or so if something's new, and he was so delighted with my book because there
Yeah,
were stories in it that even he didn't know. Because
really.
like it is, the father is a big musician and a famous man, but of course the children are listening to completely different music. So
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah.
they just recently came into their father's music because of now um, they took over the administrative stuff and office work for their father. So they now, of course, are more into the music. But if they have a question, like, "Oh, we found this recording. Is it released anywhere?" They ask me now. It's funny.
Wow, that's pretty good. Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. Plus, they
Yeah.
gotta be, a lot of recordings and many artists that are kind of good. I don't know if they're bootleg or not, because like in Tangerine Dream, there are thousands of releases out there, right? So
Yeah.
some are good or not, some are legal, some are illegal, and they say, do you know if this stuff was ever released? And then you are the guy. That's pretty good. Yeah, maybe one day I would, if I end up going to Munich and you know, meeting Max or something, I would like to, invite them for a beer or coffee or something. Tell them that.
Well, definitely, if you are visiting Germany,
Oh,
we stay
yeah,
in touch,
yeah,
and then we have a big meeting with Michael and Tommy and all the other guys.
yeah, yeah, yeah. As a matter of fact, I talked to, so with Michael. How you pronounce the last name in German? I say in America, I would say Bruckner. How you would they say in German?
Yeah, Bruckner.
Yeah, but yeah. So I talked to Michael. Then Michael is close to Frankfurt, and then Tom is close to Frankfurt, right? And then another guys, some Tangerine Dream, like Lutz invited me. I think he's close to Berlin. Harold, and then Munich. So I need to take like a week off, and then spend like 2 3 days in Frankfurt, and then move to catch like a bus or something, a flight to no Frankfurt. Yeah, so Berlin is right here. So maybe I need to arrive. I don't know. Maybe Berlin first, and then go to Frankfurt, and then go down south to Munich or something like that. I need to figure out the map, but definitely we'll get to work together for dinner. And so the reason I was saying that the guy who I interviewed today, Danny from Popol Vuh, he's in Munich as well, Munich. And I say, well, if I'm in Munich, I told him my family ancestor come from Munich. I go to Munich every 2 years to do research on the grave and try to find family ancestors. And then I told him, when I'm there in town, will be great if I take you out to dinner. We go for a couple of beers or whatever. And he said, yeah, not only that, but he said, I will pick you up at the airport and I will introduce you to some of the GLA members, some of the Popol Vuh Alive, and I'm all dual. So I need to go now,
Well, Germany is definitely worth a trip, and not only 2 days, but a week. You
A
have
week.
to plan a week for Germany at least.
Yeah, to visit, but definitely we'll get together and then talk to for the Grand Mission. So that many long. So your book now is released. Used to say you wrote it in German, but it is right now available in the English language or not yet?
Well, perhaps I will show it first
Yeah.
so that we know what we are talking about.
Yeah.
Like this is the German version,
Yeah.
and then I have the English version. It's
Wow.
called Violins Don't Grow on Trees.
Please, yeah. I think that will be one of my questions later on. Why?
Yeah, that's and the covers are slightly different.
Yeah, the English one is, the picture is kind of straight, the other one is kind of side.
The English one is the really moon dawn cover.
The moon dog, yeah, yeah.
And this is a more like ecstatic live shot of Klaus from the same session.
Yeah.
And I wanted that you can instantly say, okay, this is to tell them apart, and so that nobody is confused and buy the wrong version. Like,
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
would you offer to send you one and it's in German?
Oh no, I need to read. I need to read English, and then yeah, we need to get a copy there and signed by you, of course. And so, how many there was when you approached like a publishing company? They were kind of receptive right away. Yeah, yeah, I want to print it here. You got like a good deal to, or of course you didn't do it for the money. You do it because you like it. But were you able to recover the investment a little bit, and with the time that you spent?
The thing is, I don't have a publishing company. I do it all on myself. You can only buy the book at my Bandcamp website.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And every book in the world is packed and signed and sent out by me personally. So I was really aware, although I love Klaus, and Klaus is a very big name in the business. In the music business as a whole, he's a little niche artist, so no one knows him. So I didn't have to have my book sitting on shelves in the bookstore or in the supermarket or where. I really know this is a special book for people who really looking for a book about Klaus, and that was my intention. That I do everything alone. I let them print, send to me big boxes of books in my other room, and when someone buys one, I send it out. So that's the whole deal. And the only limitation I have doing all alone is, of course, the shipping costs. Like shipping to America is very expensive. So like paying like 40 euros for a book, and then again 20 euros to get it. So I think that's the reason why not many people buy the book from the USA yet. But I hope perhaps with this radio show that some people in the US get aware of the book and will order it. So I'm working on a workaround with a colleague of mine who lives in Las Vegas, that he got a bunch of books from me and sent it within America. And then it's not.
What I'm going to do when we are done with the interview, I'm going to put the link, and I will say you can buy the book here. So then hopefully you can get some business that way, and since this interview is going to be in Facebook, people can read that. Okay, get the books from Olaf.
It's only when you Google Olaf Lux and Klaus Schulze in one, you instantly come to my page. It's no problem to find it.
Yeah.
And it's called Violins Don't Grow on Trees.
Yeah.
Which comes from a famous quote from Klaus.
Yeah.
Like he was always, in the beginning, he was always asked these curious questions about what is a synthesizer and is it really music and they're doing all alone and stuff. And this sounds a bit silly today, but when you imagine back then, what was a machine back then? you had a washing machine so that you don't have to wash by hand. Well,
Correct.
you have a coffee machine so that you don't cook your coffee by hand. And now they had these music machines, and of course people think, okay, they do it alone. You don't have to do anything. They make music alone. But of course, this isn't the case. It's even more complicated to make music with synthesizers. And as a little funny joke to this question, is the synthesizer a real instrument? Klaus once answered, of course it is, because a violin or like a concert piano doesn't grow on a tree either. It's not natural that you can like play. You cannot pick a violin from a tree. You have to build a violin as long and as thorough and as detailed as you produce a synthesizer, and that's where this quote came.
The quote came from. And then, so you, when you have the book completed, you send it to, Klaus, family, to his kids, and what was his reaction? He liked it as far as
Well, I was a bit curious because I really tried not to be like more the fan writing about his idol. So I wanted to maintain an objective look on his life and work. And so it's not everything rise and shine in this book. It's also about his too much smoking, too much drinking, too much girls, and everything that wasn't so good in his career. And I was a bit afraid if he perhaps read these chapters, if he is like upset with me, but
or send a lawyer. You send a lawyer.
But I got the ultimate improvement from him on New Year's Eve. On New Year's Eve, his studio technician Georg Stettner wrote on Facebook a little not announcement, like a greeting from Klaus to all his fans. And by the way, thank you, Olaf Lux, for his lovely book about me. So Klaus personally, via his friend Georg, thanked me for the book. And yeah, 2 weeks ago, I got a copy back. I sent him 2, and he got me 1 back with an autograph from him. So my first autograph from Klaus Schulze is in my own book.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful story, man. Man, unbelievable, man. And how many albums, Klaus, ended up producing? Over 100, right?
Sorry, what was that?
How many albums or CDs or recording did Klaus Schulze end up?
Oh, I haven't counted them. It's so many. It's depends if you count the big sets, box sets, as 1 or as 50. Yeah. So it's between like it must be around 60 or 70 normal studio albums, plus the big boxes.
Yeah, and then plus the live recordings, right? There's some.
And the live recordings, yeah, and a few soundtracks.
Yeah. Do you like some areas better than the other? I mean, the early stuff, the middle stuff, is any? Of course, they're all different. But if you let's say, if I put you on the spot and say pick the best 3 according to Olaf, what's the best from a fan point of view, right? What are the top 3 albums from Klaus Schulze?
That's very hard. Just 3.
3, only 3, right? Silhouette, for example, Silhouette, I really like it. I don't know.
Well,
but the early stuff, of course, is very good. Moon.
Like of course, I think with every music, the ones you hear first are you love forever. Yeah. So for me, the first were Irrlicht and X and Body Love.
Yeah.
But if I have to pick only 3 of the whole
thing, yeah,
oeuvre, I would definitely pick Mediterranean Pets, because that was the first CD I bought on my own as a little pupil. And then perhaps something special like I very much like one of the recordings from the contemporary works boxes. There was one of them called Privé or Private, which is very chilly music, very relaxed, chill out music. That would I pick as third. But tomorrow it would be three other albums.
And Klaus was involved with the what's called the IC record label, right at the beginning, right?
Yes, he founded it.
He founded it, and I think Tommy yesterday that innovative communication has changed hand so many times. He's hard. I don't know who owns the IC. I end up buying a lot of stuff from Bandcamp recently, and I'm trying to get some musicians that play, in the record label. Some are. I'm trying to get a hold of some of them. I don't know where they live or if I have a Facebook page, but that was very, very, very interesting record label. I see.
Well, I think he founded it in 1979.
Yeah.
And really, the first artists on that label are classics now in their own respect, like Peacock, the band of Tommy, Robert Schröder, which Tommy mentioned.
Yeah.
Then we have Clara Mondschein, which is in really a guy called Walter Bachauer, but he called himself Clara Mondschein, like Clara Moonshine. It's just a pseudonym. But yeah, all these, I think the first like 20 or 30 albums from the IC label are classics today and very hard to find because they mostly were never properly released later. And then this was beginning of the 80s. And then Klaus got in touch with Rainer Bloss. Rainer Bloss was his partner for a long time. He played on Identity and the Gikuye Poland live album, and they made these drive-in albums together. And with Rainer Bloss, Klaus made the longest tours ever, like 60 dates in a row, every day in another town. And during this period, Klaus was so long absent from his home and from the office of IC that he didn't have much more overview about it. So the guys who were left there to take care of it suddenly had a different approach and made some bad decisions. And in the end, Klaus came back from this long concert tours and said, what are you doing here? I don't agree with you. I want to get rid of all this stuff. And he sold his part of IC to them. And from then on, IC is not longer a Klaus Schulze related anymore. And they instantly started with all this like easy listening and light jazz stuff and all this, what you now find when you buy like IC records or CDs on eBay or on the internet, all this very easy digestible, easy listening stuff from mostly USA. Most of them is boring stuff. But the really first things are really classics today.
Is there? Do you know if there is a list of the top 30 that you mentioned? There gotta be a website for that, right?
In my book is a perfect list.
Okay, so I need to get your book. Yeah.
I will send you.
No. But when I go to Germany, you sign it there. I will pay you for that. But because I would love to. I own. I have about, I don't know, like 20. I bought the stuff by the two guys. I forgot the name, that they call themselves Software.
Software, yeah.
Yeah.
Peter Weiser and Peter Mergener.
That's right, yeah.
Michael Weiser and Peter Mergener.
Yeah, and I I I would love to interview them, and I think Michael, of course, Michael had been helping me out a lot, and Michael told me, well, this guy is on Badcam, and the other guy's in Facebook using a different name, whatever it was. So I sent in an email. I would love to interview them. I like software stuff, but Michael was telling me that there were one person was like a businessman, so they were using like a different artist, right? And they put the name software like them, but there were other people writing the music, so there's no right there. Is that
The thing is, you have to be a bit careful with Michael Weiser
yeah, that's
because
right.
he is no musician. He had just the idea.
Oh,
He got to know Peter Mergener,
yeah,
he is a really fine artist. He wrote all the music of software that you like and also I like.
yeah,
But on the sleeve always says music by Michael Weiser and Peter Mergener. But
yeah,
Michael Weiser never played any instrument. He made the photography of the artwork, which
oh,
is nice on the
yeah,
albums, and he developed more or less the concept behind
yeah.
software, whatever that means. Um, the thing is, he to this day he will also brag about how this is all his stuff and his inventions. And be careful if you talk to him, it's not always correct what he will say.
I got you right. But at least the top 30 the top 30 in your book, yeah, I would love to get those. Some are on eBay, but of course I did, as I say, I don't know the top 30 list, right? So if you look for innovative communication eBay on Discog or whatever, Amazon, or all the website, there are some of them, some are difficult to get, and of course I don't know what are the best one, right? So will be you tell me that the top 30 would be good. Yeah, definitely I wanna try to get it because I wanna listen to good. I listen, I'm always looking for new music, yeah. I have a lot and I have done okay all in my life, but I'm always looking for new artists and new people, and so I always going to, let's say, Spotify, right? And I say, Klaus Schulze or something, right? And then I say Klaus Schulze radio, and they mention a lot of artists. So then I will, okay, they recommend an artist, and I go and I say, man, this guy's good, and I try to get a CD. So it's like a disease. It's never ending story.
I think the problem is that there is so many music, so much music out, so many good artists.
Yeah, so many. Yeah,
When I started with my Klaus Schulze forum on
yeah,
Facebook, of course, I soon realized a lot of the members also make music at home for themselves, or some even published some stuff like Michael did. And on the occasion of our 10th anniversary last month, I put together and compiled a sampler of music of only of members of our forum. It's also available on my Bandcamp page for free. So if you want to discover good electronic music
yeah,
of the differentest kinds, look on my site. It's
yeah,
called Schwebende Musik, which translates to floating music. It has a chessboard cover. You will soon recognize it,
yeah.
and it's free for download. You can listen to like 3 hours of finest music from people you have never heard of.
That would be
Plus
great.
one track from Michael Bruckner.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of good music. It's a lot of, as I say, I'm always looking for new stuff, and if in a way, if the radio, because things are going to be put in the link um on the website, some people can buy your album. That would be great. I mean, 4 or 5 years that you spend is a long time, and so hopefully you can, recover little by little, recover your investment,
As you
and
know, Klaus played together with a bunch of guys in this Go project,
yeah,
like with El Di Meola, Michael Shreve, and Steve Winwood. and of course the Japanese Tomo Yamashita.
Yeah.
He was the head of this Go project, and he met Tomo Yamashita because a few years before he produced the Far East Family Band, which was a Japanese like prog rock band. They called them the Pink Floyd of Japan. So and they have two fine albums, like the first is called Nihon Jen, which translates to Japanese people, and the second was called Parallel World. You have to check them out. The Far East Family Band, produced by Klaus Schulze.
Wow.
And with this, when I researched that, I get in touch with more like Japanese music, and there's brilliant Japanese music around, Japanese jazz, Japanese funk music, Japanese like there's not only Kitaro. That's what I want to say. Like everyone knows Kitaro and his like soothing electronic music, but there is so many cool music, cool artists from Japan, and that's one of the things when you start on YouTube on one video, and 4 hours later you realize you have sit there and listen to music for 4 hours and lost the time, because one leads to another, and it's everything is interesting.
By the way, you know who Ryuichi Sakamoto is?
Of course.
Yeah, that's I like David Sylvian a lot. So since you mentioned Japanese,
I have a funny story about Ryuichi.
Okay, go ahead. Oh man, I love his stuff. Yeah, I like, as I said before, Olaf, that someday I want to listen to, Peter Gabriel. Other days I want to listen to Tangerine Dream. Other days I want to listen in the morning when I drive to work, Kate Bush, and then in the afternoon, Popol Vuh, whatever. So I have like a wide, people say, do you like electronic music? Yeah, but I do a lot more stuff than electronic music. I have a big, a taste for, like one person told me in an interview, say, well, there is good music and there is bad music, and you like good music. I don't know what that means. So that's, so but go ahead with the story of Ryuichi.
Yeah. As you know, Klaus gave his last concert in 2010 in Tokyo, in Japan. And the funny thing is, there was a certain Ryuichi Sakamoto in the audience, because of course he knew Klaus, because they have some similar backgrounds, but they never met. So he wanted to meet Klaus after the show, but the officials didn't allow him to go backstage. And they tried to convince them, hey, come on, Ryuichi Sakamoto is one of the most famous Japanese artists, musicians, composers, and he wants to meet this guy. And they didn't allow it. So they were like 10 meters from each other and were not allowed to meet. So of course, Klaus and Ryuichi were very disappointed, I guess, because they missed the opportunity to meet them. Yeah.
You know what I was thinking in Japan? And of course, I'm not telling you anything new. There is electronic music is very, very popular down there. And the economy, the income per capita in Japan, is big, right, compared to United States. So maybe it's going to be a big demand in Japan where you can sell your book. Of course, you wouldn't translate it to Japanese, but try to get a hold of Japanese publisher companies, and then tell them that you wrote a book about that. See what maybe they can take like the equivalent of the PDF document or the Word Microsoft Word document and somehow translate it and then publish it somewhere. Maybe look into that. I don't know if you.
I think I have only one order from Japan so far.
Because they don't know. That's the thing. Maybe through a publisher will help you, right? because in the quality of I have you know, I from Japanese pressing, right? I have a lot of this, I don't know, like 200, 300 CDs or 300 vinyl from Japan. So I have a lot of stuff. Maybe one day I will listen to all the stuff. I don't have the time. But you can approach a publisher company,
Claudio, the thing is, on the one hand, of course, I want to sell as many books to spread the word to the people.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I don't make much money out of it. So if the demand would double, I would be in trouble, because as I do everything on my own. So today it's like 1 or 2 books a day I have to send, or sometimes 2 days nothing and then again. But if it were like 10, 20 books every day, it would be hard to do for me.
You need to print it. You need to go to the post office, package it, send it, collect the money.
Collect the money.
Yeah, well, try collect. Reach out to some publisher company in Japan. Maybe they could. Maybe, I don't know, if you have the stuff in a Microsoft Word or a PDF, you can sell them the rights in writing. Sell them the rights to be published in their own country instead of you sending a physical copy of the book. You understand?
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's just a half a year out now, so I will cover the first demand on my own, and perhaps later I also think about perhaps releasing like a little bit cheaper paperback of the book, than with a publisher, and then worldwide everywhere. So
you gotta record your investment. How many have you sold in Germany, if you don't mind? Ballpark figure.
Let's not talk about numbers here. Enough. Enough.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. And man, but I'm glad that Klaus Schulze, the man himself, end up approving and reading the stuff, and the kids like it. So, man, but 5 years, wow, that's a lot of work, man. You gotta tell a couple of funny, if possible, on the recording. Don't say anything that you don't wanna regret. Like, it gotta be funny stories, right? About Klaus Schulze concert, right? The equipment didn't arrive or whatever, or he went to the wrong place, or it was like an earthquake. Yeah, but there gotta be some funny stories about weird, crazy stuff that happened to Klaus Schulze with all the concert that he did.
What's funny is how reliable the post services around the world seem to be, because until now only 2 books have disappeared. So one book I sent was a first order from America.
Yeah.
And I sent it, and after like 3 months, nothing had arrived. And first, it's always because of COVID and problems and everything, but because nothing arrived, the guy obviously got in contact with me and asked, hey, what should we do? And I sent him another copy, which then arrived. But another weeks later, he received just the address sticker that was on the package. Just the sticker in a bag was sent to him, like, we lost the book, but here's your address sticker. I think, what's that about? So there was a funny incident why they would send the sticker without the book, but it must be get lost anywhere on the ship when it was shipped. And the other was some guy in Italy who, after weeks and weeks, talked to me, wrote to me, the book is still not arrived. What shall we do? And I sent him another, but he had to promise me, if the first book will arrive any time, that he will contact me, that he perhaps can send it to the next one in Italy.
Of course, yeah, that's
mind you, a few weeks later, hey, I got the second book. So we figure it out, and another guy in Italy got this book, and so
He sent it to him.
in the end, is really only one book is lost. So
That's very weird, man. Because
what is weird is that even South Africa and Australia and Hong Kong were quicker than the US. It was a nightmare to send to America.
wow, how's the situation with the pandemic now? Then Germany is completely open or not yet?
Not yet. It still depends on if you're vaccinated or not. So you have a bit more freedom to go outside and have stuff. But mostly you still have to register when you go into a restaurant that you are there and stuff like that. It's still not over. The problem is with this new variant, this Delta variant, a new it's like a completely new virus, and it starts again. And well, I fear that we will deal with this forever, like not the annual flu. We have the annual COVID pandemic and have to get on the vaccines and stuff. But we will get over it. I think we will adapt.
Well, I hope so, man. As I say, I got my vaccine shot about 4 months ago here in the United States, and I wanna, I wanna. Here is much but it's safer, quote unquote. I don't know if it's safer or not, but at least the venues, September 1st, all the venues will open here, so you can see. I will be able to go and see a lot of shows in September, October, and so forth. And but
so any side effects from the vaccine? I see.
No,
you have no hair anymore.
No, nothing. No, that's a myth. There's no. Some people that die for some vaccine, I'm quite sure they did have other issues before they took the vaccine. All this, the Pfizer, the Moderna, and they're very good companies. They spend billions of dollars, doing research and try to, figure out how the stuff works in order to create a vaccine and what you can put in your arm. So you read so many stories about that they are injecting you, stuff to keep track of you, and that's stupid stuff, nonsense. All my friends and the company that I work for and people I know, no side effect, nothing. The second one is more strong because you need, depending on you need to take one and then wait a couple of weeks and then take the other second shot. And it's a strong. So you are weak for 3 hours and you sleep or you're tired, but the next day you're fine. There's no, and
as long as you can listen to good music, there's no problem.
Yeah, that's right. I put good music. If I need to take the day off from work, because I'm tired from the vaccine, I stay home and listen. And but the companies now in the United States are making it kind of mandatory. If you want to go back to work, which I am, I go to the office like 3 days a week out of the 5. The other 2 I work from home. You need to show that you have vaccinated. So because it's like they need to prevent for the rest of the people not to get sick. Although here in the United States, there's a lot of freedom. So they cannot, you cannot in the Constitution of the United States be obligated to do things, right? The government cannot force me to do this or that, vaccine, whatever it may be, right? But there is common law. Common law say that the majority should override your individual right because it protects the whole country, the whole community, whatever. So that's what companies can say, well, if you want to go back to work, you need to show us a piece of paper that you were vaccinated and we will give you an incentive, whatever, because if you're not, right, then the other people that are working can get affected and you can die, whatever. So although they cannot, that kind of it's going to be mandatory September 1st. In many, I've been going to the office for 4 to 5 months already, not happy to be, but it's going to be kind of mandatory to, show the vaccine, that you wear black before you go back to work. Because
Well,
some people like it, some people don't like it, but what's the risk, right? Even if you don't believe, right? You don't want to die. You don't want to get sick. Maybe I'm lying. I will bring the COVID to the whole company. That's kind of foolish mentality.
the thing is, there are just two opinions. Like, you get vaccinated and you don't get ill, or you refuse to get the vaccine, then you will get it any time in the future. You will get it.
Yeah.
So there are those, I think the normal people who say, okay, I believe in the vaccine and that will protect me. And then there are those who refuse to get the vaccine, but they have to deal with the virus then when they will be infected. So in the end, everyone will be immune, I hope, until the next thing comes up. What was a bit disappointing for me here in Germany was that all my friends and colleagues in the US still got their shots when I was still waiting for. Like, we didn't talk about, I work for a US startup, which is based in Las Vegas. And when I talked to them, they told me, oh, vaccination is no problem here. You go to the nearest whatever pharmacy or a doctor, or even at McDonald's or whatever, you can get a shot here.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there were no restrictions like you have to be such and such old, or you have to have some bad conditions beforehand.
Yeah.
Everyone was vaccinated, and they are 10 years, 20 years younger than me.
Yeah,
and I was still waiting for my first shot. So that was a bit disappointing that the German government was so like over-regulating everything. Like, instead of just, come on everybody, we have the vaccine, who wants gets it, and get rid of it as fast as possible. So now they get back in track, and I hope now it will.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because Germany and England probably are the two most advanced, so to speak, countries in Europe. So they have the means to buy that many doses from all over the world, and then have a good distribution systems to apply to. So I'm surprised that.
Let's stop talking about COVID. I have another funny story about my book sending.
Yeah.
Just remind me, when you talk about the UK,
Yeah.
You definitely know about Brexit, like England leaving the
Yeah.
European Union. And there was this one guy ordering my book from England, and of course he paid the normal package fee for inside Europe. Like, there are a fee within Germany, and then there is a fee for Europe, and then there's a fee for rest of the world. Like, and of course more expensive. So he ordered when England was still in the EU, and when the package finally reached the border, there was a Brexit one day before, and then from one day to another, the payment cost doubled, and they wanted they didn't want to deliver it because I had to pay more for more shipment costs. But I covered that because the poor guy from England, he was no Brexiteer. He voted for staying, but he couldn't. When he bought it, it was this and this fee, and of course I would cover the distance, the difference. But so the Brexit, yeah, it had an impact on me personally.
Of course, yeah.
Give me my €8 back.
That's right. You want, yeah. I'm surprised that some countries are behind. As I said before, they're very well-run countries. To Germany, England. So they're, why would take that long if here in the United States You can buy something from Amazon, wherever it is, wherever you want for Amazon. You can buy a car and it will be arrive your home tomorrow or 2 days after that. How in the world a company like Amazon can have a good logistic, good system to deliver anything to anybody in the world, and a country like Germany, or a country like England can know they're months behind the stuff. That's poorly run, if you ask me. I don't, no
Yeah,
good, man.
I'm a bit.
Bureaucracy, bureaucracy.
I have a little bit a problem with Amazon because
Yeah,
in the end it kills all the normal stores in the
yeah.
city. Like everyone is buying on Amazon, and no one goes out into this in the city centers anymore. And there's so many
Yeah, I agree with that.
uh,
But I'm saying
deleted.
it's not efficiency. That's efficiency. It's a very good distribution system.
Yeah,
You know.
but the cities are dying. It's a bit sad.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to any bookstore anymore or whatever. You can always click in the internet and it comes to your doorstep. You don't have to leave the house anymore.
Yeah, basically. If you can order milk, I don't know, from Amazon, but
You can order a cow, I think.
yeah, very much, or a plane, or music, whatever. Like I do. I buy a lot of music from Amazon and eBay, all that kind of stuff. Man, it's getting late for you, Olaf, man.
I don't know how long do we talk now?
Like an hour and a half.
Are you kidding me? I think you say stop after an hour.
Yeah, no. But it was very nice talking to you, Olaf, man.
Thank
Definitely,
you.
when I will send you the link tonight when I upload it to the radio, you will be sleeping, and we'll be in touch. And as soon as I can, I want to fly to Germany for a week, and then spend, I don't know, 2 days in Berlin, 2 days in Frankfurt. I don't know. I need to plan it, figure out where. But I want to meet all these people I have talked to, musicians, and people have been very nice, man.
Well, actually, you just have to come over. We will cover all the details.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I need to figure out the logistic. People. Ulrich told me, come to London. I show you my studio, and then told me yesterday, no, I pick you up at the airport. Just show up in the Frankfurt airport, and then Michael's 20 minutes from here, and then the guy from Danny today from Popol Vuh, yeah, I say I will take you out to dinner with your wife, and I say, I will buy you a drink. And say, no, not only that, I will introduce you to all the Amul Dual members, some of the Popol Vuh guys or whatever. So you don't know how lucky I am to have this show and these interviews, man. I never thought I would have this kind of reception, and I just started. I mean, this interview is number 78, if I remember correct. Will be 78, and I have like 20, 30 people that send me emails now. Hey, I like your interviews. Can I be in there? I say, I have no idea who you are. Oh, no, this is my Bandcamp. I play with this guy, I play with that guy. So now me, at the beginning, I was sending email to everybody. I'm creating a radio, or I like your music, whatever. Now it's the other way around. People are reaching out to me, so you know how lucky I am, man. I'm a very lucky person who talked to.
And I am the first non-musician.
You are the first one musician, absolutely, yeah.
Oh, I'm honored.
Yeah,
Thank
so,
you.
yeah. And I wanna, I tried to get a hold of the founder, of course. And now I know Klaus Schulze was for IC, from in IC. I pinged the record label, Belgian Record. I pinged the guy from ECM, and so I have a list of people I need to go back and try to scale. So I'm very lucky to, I never thought I will be able to talk to people from Genesis, from Toto, from all the big electronic mixes. 6 people from Tangerine Dream already. I'm very fortunate. So I'm very. That's why I decided, Olaf, to do. Well, all the radio need to be free. I don't want. I cannot charge anything. I will never charge anything. And all the interviews are there going to be for life, as long as the internet exists, for future generations, and to listen to good music and see the interviews. So.
So you say now I'm eternal. I'm
You're eternal, right? 50 years from now, if the world have not go crazy and still too many people, I need to get a hold of Ryoshi Sakamoto. I need to get a Sylvian. Hopefully I can have some people from Pink Floyd here and
what about
Led Zeppelins.
what
So
about
many
the
huh?
Kraftwerk guys?
Who?
The guys from Kraftwerk. What about them?
Kraftwerk. They have no reply. The only person I interviewed with Kraftwerk at the beginning was
not even Klaus.
Michael Ruther.
He was only a short time.
He was a short period of time. That's the closest that I have been. If you know any contact, keep me posted. Let me know. Send me an email. Make some introduction.
Well, I could perhaps give a contact to Michael Shreve.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah.
From Santana, and
yeah, that would be.
And maybe Marian Gold from Alphaville. I don't know if you know him. Alphaville.
No, I know the band. I don't know him. Yeah, feel free to put them in touch. Yeah, Kraftwerk will be okay, but of course, there's some people never reply to you. You know.
Yeah.
You know, I go to Facebook and I go to Instagram. I go here. Some people are friends like you. You know, send an email. This is a good guy. Give it a chance. Some time that. So another guy who sent me an email a couple of days ago. Yeah, I noticed that you're a Tangerine Dream fan. Yeah, I say yeah, and he will try to put me in touch with other Tangerine Dream. I wanna, like Jerome, and we talk about why, he does. I don't know. Jerome doesn't want to be associated with Tangerine Dream or whatever for the issues. So I say, well, let's talk about your music, Jerome music. Forget about Tangerine Dream, right? Forget about, and then Linda Spa also trying to get a hold of her, and have been difficult. People don't reply, So, but it's growing. The interviews are growing. Hopefully soon will be 100 and 100. I put goals of every 25. My goal was 75. I did it. Now my goal is 100. Then 125 and the base, and maybe create other radio. I don't know. That's fun stuff for me.
I will definitely stay in touch and see who comes in front of your screen the next time.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Olaf, thank you very much for your help again, man. Have a night, and then hopefully we'll see you soon in there in your own country, and then we have dinner or something, man.
So, and I'm so interested in who now won the game. I still don't know.
I know. I check it out. Hold on. I tell you. I think it was. Give me 1 minute. If I remember correctly, I think Italy won 3-2 on penalties.
Oh, penalty. Okay.
Yeah. So they went 90 minutes, right? Then they play another 15 minutes each side. Yeah. And if it's still tied, they go to penalties, and then Italy.
Oh.
You like the Bundesliga? You like
England?
You like Do you like Bundesliga?
Not very much.
No, you don't like soccer that
boring.
much?
It's always Munich winning. It's boring.
Yeah, why? Buyers they're very rich. That they can buy any player.
I'm more like American football.
Yeah. Well, you really do? Yeah, you like American football? Yeah. See, I like a sport where different teams will have a chance. Exactly. In Spain, it's always Real Madrid, Barcelona for the last 34 years. In England, it's very different. In England, it's very, very competitive. So some years will win this guy, then the other team, and then every week when they play, whatever, Manchester City against the last guy on the table, this is a very good game. They're very competitive. So it's good when there's competition, but in Germany, the Bayern Munich, they're so rich, they can buy any player in the world. So the other, nobody else have a chance. That's foolish,
That's what I mean.
Yeah, that's foolish. No good. Yeah. All right, Olaf, man. Thank you very much again. I will send you a link. We'll stay in touch, man. Appreciate it.
See
Take it
you.
easy.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.